Hello, everyone out there. Welcome to Dropping the Ash podcast. This is Troy Harper, and welcome. Glad you're here today. Wanted to get with you guys and discuss, do a follow up on a podcast that I did. One of the Dropping Ash podcasts I did. It was 2 episodes ago. I was discussing all my cigar supplies for traveling, and I told you, I had mentioned that it was only the kind of traveling that you do in your vehicle, and I told you that traveling by airplane would be a whole different story. So today I'm going to do that. Oh, my eyes are burning a little bit for some reason. I am not in my normal setting. I'm out on my porch this time today, and so it's kind of nice out, so I thought I would go ahead and do a podcast outside today. Sorry if you hear traffic. We live close to the main road here, the main stretch here in Kimball. So forgive me if it's loud at times. But anyway, I'm glad you guys are here today. And what I wanted to go over was my trip that I took to Tucson, Arizona this last week with my wife Marcy. We did fly by plane. And I was always curious what I could get away with, I guess, with my cigars and cigar cutters and everything. So I wanted to get with you guys and tell you what I experienced. First time ever flying with cigars and cigar supplies. I've of course flown before, but not with. Before I got into cigars, I flew, but. This is my first time flying with cigars and cigar supplies. So I had watched a gentleman on YouTube here a little while back because I was curious what he had to say, and I'll not mention his name to protect his innocence. Anyway, no, actually I can't remember the gentleman's name, but I'll just say I'm protecting him by not mentioning his name for other reasons. So, but anyway, but really, I can't remember the gentleman's name. So, anyway, but the guy I watched, and I wish I could remember his name, mentioned that when you fly, you can take a cigar cutter. You can take matches. You can take a Bic lighter. You can take a torch lighter. You may or may not get to keep it. There's a risk of it being taken. See, what else did he say? He said you could have a cigar travel humidor, which I took. I did not take my travel humidor because I thought it was too big for this trip. So I took, and I wish I would have brought it out here. It's just it's a pocket case that slides open this way, and it holds like 2 to 3 cigars, maybe 4 depending on how small they are. So I had that in my suitcase with a few cigars in it and my Boveda packs in it. And in my suitcase I had just a cheap lighter, torch lighter, and I had my matches, and I had a Bic lighter. Going through the Denver airport, the DIA, Denver International Airport, I had everything on my carry-on. I didn't check any luggage in. Packed as light as I could for this trip last week to Tucson, Arizona. My luggage went through security. Nothing ever brought up about my cigar cutter, my torch lighter, which I did empty out. I emptied all the butane out, and I was on this video I watched. The gentleman suggested that you empty your torch lighter to have a better chance of being able to keep it. So I did that, and inside my suitcase again that I carried on to the plane, like I said, I had several things of matches, and I'll show those to you. Let's see here. So I had these in my suitcase. So I had those, And I had just this cheap Bic lighter. In the video, it was the gentleman mentioned that you could have a Bic lighter, so I had a Bic lighter. And then there's my torch, my empty torch lighter, empty still. But anyway, so I had that, and I just took a cheap cutter. I didn't want to take anything expensive, just so I wouldn't lose out on too much money. So I took a cheap guillotine cutter. All that passed in the Denver International Airport, no problems. So anyway, so then while I was down there in Tucson, went to a cigar lounge, which was I went to two different ones, Anthony's Emporium Cigar Lounge, down there in Tucson. I went to two different ones. Went to the one on 4811 East Grant Road, and I went to the one that's 7866 North Oracle Road in Tucson. I visited the one on East Grant Road the second day I was in Tucson, and then I got to visit the one on North Oracle Road the day I was flying back. My wife and my stepdaughter went to go take care of some things before we left, so they dropped me off at the Cigar Lounge to have a cigar. So did that, and my very last cigar that I had before I left Tucson, I'll just go ahead and throw it out there, was the Almac 6x60 ring gauge. It was a 6x60 Maduro cigar. This Almac cigar was the last cigar I smoked before I left Tucson. So anyway, that was a really great cigar by Foundation. If you ever find that cigar, it's a great cigar. If you go to my either my Harper Cigar Lounge group page on Facebook, or if you go to my personal group page, you can see the reviews of the different cigars that I smoked on that trip to Tucson last week. You can check that out. You can check those posts out to get a little more information on that. And then another great cigar that I smoked while I was there, mind you, on this trip I was in search for cigars I'd never seen before, boutique cigars. So a cigar that I smoked at Anthony's on let's see, that would have been on East Grant Road, 4811 East Grant Road. I'm giving you these addresses in case you ever go to Tucson, so you can check these cigar lounges out for yourself. The one on East Grant Road, kind of a smaller cigar lounge, but very nice still. Very nice big walk-in humidor, but a smaller seating area, but it was very nice still. So anyway, so I ran across, oops, trying to reach here. Okay. So I ran across this Viaje Collector's Edition. It's called Honey and Hand Grenades cigar. And it came with this really nice foil wrapper around the first half of the cigar. And that cigar, like I said, it was a 6x54 torpedo, Maduro torpedo, sorry. And it was a really different cigar. You had to clip the foot as well as the cap. And on the foot, you just clipped a very small piece off and then lit it like you would maybe a Figurado, where the end's got a little bit of a wick on it. So you would light that. And the taste notes were coffee, honey, spice, some kind of spice. I don't know if it was red pepper or black pepper. That just had some really nice spice to it. Nothing overpowering. And then the last third had some floral notes. But it had a very razor sharp burn all the way through. And I never had to relight the cigar. And it was great with a Guinness beer. They gave me a Guinness beer to drink since St. Patrick's Day was coming up. So that was very nice of them. I gave them a nice tip for giving me a Guinness beer. But just a very nice place. The people were very nice that ran it. Was really impressed with it. So I definitely would recommend you guys visiting that cigar lounge in Tucson. And then the last day, I was on the one on at 7866 North Oracle Road in Tucson. Great lounge, also very friendly people that ran it, and it was a totally different setting, but it was their largest cigar lounge in Tucson, and just great atmosphere, great people in there. But Anthony Cigar Emporium in Tucson, there's 4 locations, and then there's also one in Phoenix, Arizona as well. So anyway, but just look up Anthony Cigar Emporium. If you ever go to Tucson, you'll see all the different ones come up, and just great places to visit. So I definitely recommend Anthony Cigar Emporium, Cigar Lounge in Tucson. But it's the same owner with all of them, and they're the only cigar lounges in Tucson. And there's also one in Phoenix as well. If you ever get over to Phoenix, there's one in Phoenix. So, but anyway, so I was on a trip. I was venturing out to find boutique cigars. I figured there would probably be some great boutique cigars down there in Tucson, and sure enough, there was a lot of great cigars that I found. And I'm gonna smoke this one. Let me take it out of the wrapper. This one's really cool. It's called the Hornet by Blackwork Studio. Really cool looking cigar. I wish I would have grabbed a few more of these, to be honest with you, but just a great cigar. Really beautiful. I love that green foot on the end, and it's a closed foot, I just realized. So anyway, let me cut this and toast it, and then I'll tell you what happened on the way back. I'll tell you what happened on the way back from our trip with my experience with cigar supplies and cigars. So anyway, but gosh, this is such a beautiful cigar. My God, I don't even know why I'm smoking this thing. It's so gorgeous. I love it. But I'm gonna have to look this up and see if I can find some on the internet somewhere. But man, this is a beautiful cigar. I know nothing about this cigar. The only thing I know is it's a 5x48, and it's called the Hornet. So it's the black label Hornet by Blackwork Studio. So anyway, I can't wait to try this. Ooh, well, the wrapper's different. Sure has a different taste to it. Gosh, almost has kind of a maple flavor to the wrapper, maybe. Maybe some wrapper maybe some. See, what did I say? Well, definitely a little bit of maybe some earth and maple. That's the other. So some maple and some earth in there as well. But anyway, definitely an interesting tasting wrapper. I'm gonna go ahead and use the cutter that I used on my trip, so, since I have it here. So let me cut this. Okay. Normally this is what I would use normally if I'm traveling by car, but I didn't want to take this on the plane. I had a good feeling I'd definitely get this taken away from me. So let me get this toasted up. Oh my gosh, this is a beautiful cigar. I hope I can find some of these. If I like it enough, I hope I can find some of these. And I apologize, I meant to start this up sooner for you guys. So I'm sorry that I had to keep you waiting. And I hope the traffic's not too loud or anything. But anyway, I won't get into it today, but I will, on my next Dropping the Ash podcast, I'll get into some of the boutique cigars I found, some of the other ones I found, and I will show them to you. I didn't have a lot of room in my suitcase, so I had to be careful how many I grabbed. I grabbed about, oh gosh, I think I probably bought about 10 different cigars, I believe, down there, which this was one of them. And the other one that I found, or the one I told you that I smoked, the Viaje Limited Edition Honey and Hand Grenade cigar. I bought 2 extras of those just because of how impressed I was with that cigar. It was, I gotta say, it may be the best cigar I've ever had. So if you ever find that cigar on the internet, you can get a good deal on it. Or if you can get a 5-pack or a box of them, whatever, definitely grab it up. I think you'll be happy. If you're into Maduro cigars, you'll love it. But so far, very bold cigar. I definitely would not recommend this for a beginner. It is a very bold cigar, very peppery so far. And I forgot to mention the cold draw was nice. It wasn't too tight, not too loose. It was a really good, had a good draw on it. Didn't really have a lot of huge noticeable taste notes, just more like leather and earth in the taste notes on the cold draw. So but yeah, if you guys like pepper and spice, and you like kind of rich cigars, I guess I'd probably recommend this to you. It is definitely very peppery and very rich, kind of a cigar. Definitely some spice in it as well. So, but anyway, pretty good cigar. I'm really liking it. Really beautiful cigar. I'm glad I can smoke this for you guys today and review it a little bit for you and tell you my experience. If you guys have ever had this cigar, let me know what your experiences were on it. Let me know what your thoughts are on it. Let me know if you thought it was a good cigar or not. Whatever you want to tell me, give me any kind of feedback on this that you can. Maybe even where you bought your cigar. But anyway, boy, definitely peppery. And I'm also drinking this Smirnoff Smash Vodka Soda, Strawberry Dragon Fruit. So I thought I'd try that today with my my cigar. So, oh, that's very good. I've never had this before. So anyway, thought I would go ahead and try it today. Try a new drink with a new cigar. So anyway, hope you guys are all doing good out there today. I know you're not used to seeing me outside of my cigar lounge doing a podcast, but it's such a beautiful day. I had to come outside for a little bit, and I thought, well, I'll just hang out with all my my friends out there and my family out there with Harper Cigar Lounge. So, but anyway, thank you guys for joining me today. I'm glad you're here. So let me get into my experience on the way back. So of course we had to, on the way up, we went through the Denver, and I'm talking about Denver, Colorado. We're about an hour and a half from Denver, Colorado here. So we went through security in Denver, Colorado. Like I said, everything went well. Nothing got taken from me. None of my cigars, my pocket cigar holder that holds 3 cigars, that didn't get taken. My cheap cigar guillotine cutter didn't get taken. My cheap torch lighter. It's just a single torch lighter, but that never got taken. So this is the one that I took. And this is the cutter I took with me. I got it free with some cigars that I ordered, so it was just a freebie. So if I had lost this or got taken away, I wasn't going to be upset. Same with this. I got it free with some cigars I bought once. So both of these were free items, promotional items that I got with some cigars. So if I had lost those, it wasn't going to be a big deal. And again, I had these matches. So if I lost those, that wasn't going to be a big deal. And I had a big lighter to use, which if that got taken again, I wasn't going to be upset. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't use big lighters when I smoke cigars. And I don't usually use cheap cutters, but not that I'm too good to use a cheap cutter, don't get me wrong. But I usually have, a nice cutter and lighter, which is, again, my Zyphe. That's usually what I use most of the time. If I don't use my cutter on my V-cut on my lighter, I usually use this Perdomo Cigars guillotine cutter. It's a really nice heavy cutter. So those are the things I usually use. And then I've got this lighter here I really love. I use it a lot. So anyway, so let me get into what happened on the way back from Tucson. Or when we were leaving Tucson. So went through security in Tucson, and I thought I was going to be in the clear until right after my suitcase went through the x-ray thing. They started opening up my suitcase and they had a metal detector. And sure enough, what had happened is I got to back up here, I'm sorry. When I got to that first Cigar Lounge, I didn't want to sit there and light my cigars up with a dang Bic lighter. And I'm just not patient enough to use matches. And I forgot to grab my single torch lighter out of my suitcase when I went to the Cigar Lounge. So I didn't want to sit there with a Bic lighter, and I didn't want to use matches. So I had asked them if they had a cigar or a lighter that I could purchase. And they said, yes, we do. And so they showed me what they had, and they had some very expensive ones. And I told them I didn't want anything expensive because of the chance of it getting taken on the way back to Denver from Tucson. And so they had a nice black Camacho 2-torch lighter with a punch on the bottom. It was really kind of a nice heavy lighter. But they sold it to me for $15. And they filled it up for me with butane, and it was a great lighter. Loved it, enjoyed it while I was in the lounge. Used it after that on my trip. Used it in the second lounge I went into before we flew out. Great lighter, but I emptied it out. I emptied out all the butane before we went to the airport, and I stuck it in my suitcase. And it was in a nice little black holder as well. And so went through security. And after it came out of the x-ray and they opened up my suitcase, they pulled it out and they said, oh, you got a torch lighter here. We're probably not gonna be able to let you keep this. And I said, well, I did empty all the butane out of it. And I said, you can flick it or turn it on if you want to see that I emptied all the butane out. And so this guy that was checking it out went and talked to, I think, probably his supervisor. And he came back and said, no, we're not going to be able to let you have this. And I was a little upset, but I wasn't totally surprised. But I was a little upset, a little disappointed that I didn't get away with having that lighter with me to come back to Kimball with. So, but anyway, so that was my experience. So what I want to tell you guys is take what you want, but you're going to take the risk of losing something, one or the other. But I do suggest if you fly, take your travel cigar humidor if you got room for it. Have your Boveda packs in it, have your cigars in it. If you're going to take a lighter and a cutter, just take a cheap, butane lighter if you can. Take a cheap cutter. So if you lose those, you're not out anything really. take matches if you feel you need match. If you like to use matches, then great, take your matches. That's not going to get taken. So, but if you're going to take something like this, and you know, heavy duty cutter lighter thing like this, or a lighter like this, you're probably going to get taken. I can't believe they didn't take this, but it's mainly plastic. This thing is mainly plastic. Very little metal in it, so maybe that's why they didn't make a big deal about it in Denver. And I'm surprised they didn't make a big deal about it in Tucson either as well. I'm surprised they didn't make a big deal about that. So anyway, but just if you're going to travel, just take cheap stuff, cheap supplies. Don't take anything expensive. Leave your good stuff at home. And again, if you're into matches, then that's going to work great for you. But just take your cheap stuff, guys, and you probably won't have any problems. So anyway, but I thought I would test the waters and see what I could get away with on this trip, so I could give you guys my experience and let you know what happened with me flying on an airplane. So anyway, that's what happened, and it's been good to be back home. Coming back, I was not feeling really the greatest after coming back. I don't know if I had jet lag or what, but I didn't have very much sleep. We got back to Kimball. Gosh, it was Monday. This last Monday morning, about we got back about 12:30 in the morning. This last Monday morning, and by the time I got things kind of unpacked and got to bed, I only got maybe 3 hours of sleep because I had to be back. I had to be to work by 4:30 at the latest that morning. Didn't get a lot of sleep. So, and then I kind of worked long hours that next day or that morning through the evening. Worked, quite a while, and so I think just the lack of sleep and getting back late and only getting a few hours of sleep and then working long hours the next day, I think it just kind of knocked me for a loop. And but I'm doing better now. I'm starting to feel better. I'm starting to adjust again. Went to Tucson was warm. It was in the 70s, 60s, 70s most of the time. So anyway, but it was a good trip. But wanted to tell you guys my experience. So if you go to fly, you know what to expect. So, but again, just take your cheap stuff, and if it gets taken, great, it gets taken. So no big loss. Don't, if you do take a bottle of alcohol, keep that in. I think you can have that in your carry-on, a bottle of alcohol, I think. But I'd make sure it's plastic if you do. So anyway, but guys, thank you. In the comments, I will let you know how this cigar finished out. And the next podcast I do under Dropping the Ash podcast, I will show you some of the boutique cigars that I came across and found. So anyway, thank you guys for joining me today, and have a great rest of your evening. Have a great rest of your week, and maybe in a few days I'll have another video up for you guys, whether it's my Harper Cigar Lounge podcast or my Dropping the Ash podcast. I'll try to get both of them up sometime this week. My wife's going to be in South Dakota this weekend, so maybe I can fit in some time to get that taken care of, since I'll be kind of having the house myself. So anyway, but make sure you guys share this video, this podcast. Make sure you like it. Leave me your feedback, your comments. Join or subscribe to my Harper Cigar Lounge YouTube channel and my group page on Facebook. And make sure you share the content and pass this information on to others. Let them know about this podcast. And make sure you check out Harper Cigar Lounge podcast as well, based around hard rock, heavy metal, and premium cigars. So anyway, check that one out. Leave me your comments, leave me your feedback, share the content. Subscribe to my YouTube channel under Harper Cigar Lounge again, and my Facebook group page under Harper Cigar Lounge. So anyway, guys, thank you for joining me today. God bless, and I'll see you guys very soon. I'll talk to you soon. I'll see you in the comments, and I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.